is April the 5th, meeting of the Civic Center, and all of you should have received the minutes from our last meeting. So we will need a vote to accept those minutes.
I so move.
To accept the minutes.
Okay, a second? I need a second.
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion on these minutes? No to approve? Vote to approve here? Raise your hand, aye. Any nays? Okay, approved. I will start with our agenda. The city council, which is Antoinette, but she's busy probably trying to get back from New Orleans. And we are all jealous, we recognize that. Sports Commission, Demp, are you here?
He is not on yet. I'll text him and see where he is.
Marshall, I know you're here. We chatted. Do you mind giving us an update on the CVB?
Sure. Afternoon, everyone. March business levels definitely came back. We fielded 111 leads worth 17,500 room nights compared to the benchmark year of March 2019, where we fielded 90 leads and 16,800 room nights. So group business is definitely back on the rebound. We hosted our 48-hour meeting planner experience in March. 13 customers from all over the country who were not familiar with Asheville. And we've already received at least one new business opportunity as a result. And that was just 2 weeks ago. We also attended 2 trade shows in March. The Society for Incentive Travel Southeast show in Atlanta, targeting incentive customers, and the Independent Planner Education Conference in Las Vegas, and that was geared towards the many independent meeting planners that are out there. So in March, we also marketed our double incentive opportunity groups who have meetings taking place midweek and all days of the week during the first quarter are eligible for twice the amounts of incentive when they sign by April. So we did a lot of heavy marketing in March for that, and seeing some good results as for that initiative. We hosted our quarterly hotel director of sales meeting in March. It was a strategy session for our upcoming fiscal year. We invited our destination management companies and other key partners. Chris was able to attend. Thank you, Demp, as well. So we appreciate you both being there. And then we're just in the middle of our budget planning for upcoming fiscal year. We had a sales budget retreat as well as the TDA board retreat in March. And we also held the Everyone Welcome LGBTQ plus diverse audience training with our team and our partners. And then lastly, we celebrated the retirement of Glenn Cox, our VP of Administration, who left us just last week for full retirement. So that's the Explore Asheville update, a busy month, but all good things.
What, with your new business, was there any difference in the people who decided to come who hadn't been here before? Any difference, in terms of profile?
Oh, with our FAM customers? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been trying to get outside of our individual database for who has sourced us before. So we used a couple of alternate methods. We also pushed this heavily at all the trade shows we've been to, and we have a pretty stringent approval process. So that vetted out some folks that majority had not been here, and those that had been here were focused on leisure when they were here and not necessarily group. So they saw it through a different lens, and I know it'll pay back big time. We're probably going to increase our our frequency of these in the coming fiscal year to have even more customers exposed to the destination. Smaller meetings are a trend we're seeing, which bodes well for us. Of course, the experiences, return on experience is a big buzzword right now. And I think that's going to bode well for Asheville too.
Great. Good. Any questions for Marshall? Okay. Is Demp on yet? Demp,
I'm
if you're
here.
there. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was up to my eyeballs in Billie Jean King Cup logistics. So I guess since our last meeting, we had what I would say is a pretty successful Southern Conference tournament. Our attendance numbers were down, but I don't think that COVID was a factor. It had more to do with successful teams like Wofford, ETSU, and UNC Greensboro, who all three have been in every final over the past 5 years, not having that great of season. So Chattanooga did bring a pretty good crowd. Furman had a pretty good crowd for the finals. But our numbers were down, but it was probably more of a bracket and a seeding aspect. We have, so there was a very successful Asheville Marathon that was downtown a couple of weeks ago. That was really a good event because it had been being at the Biltmore Estate, and to have it downtown, kudos to Daphne and IDAF events for pulling that off, because pulling off a marathon is not easy, and doing it in about 4 months' time was even harder. We're in the middle of Billie Jean King Cup planning, or maybe executing or troubleshooting or all those and above. But this is going to be a true community event, and a very exciting event. Our community events starting on Wednesday, we're going to do a clinic for the spring break camps that are at the YMCAs, the parks and recreation centers, and Buncombe County School after school programs. We're going to do that at Rabbit, one session at 10 and one session at 12:30. There'll be fun tennis little games to basically introduce kids to tennis. And then, of course, the best part is they will be getting free pizza. So that's probably what they'll be more excited about. We will continue to have a junior circuit event at Aston Park on Wednesday. There's an adult social event at 6 o'clock at Rabbit. Thursday, we go into middle school play in the morning at 11:30. High school play day from 1 to 2:30. Both of those events are at Aston Park. On Thursday, we will also be having an abilities tennis event I think the way they described it is intellectually challenged, from 5:30 to 7:30. And then also on Thursday, we'll have a wheelchair event at the Asheville Racquet Club downtown, indoors from 5:30 to 7:30. And the USTA wheelchair team or some of the members will be there for that event. Friday really gets things kind of crazy. We're going to do a tennis in the streets, followed by a racket parade. We're going to use a new area that we've never used. We're going to use the area between the Grove Arcade and the Battery Park Hotel Apartments. So we'll be doing probably 100 to 150 kids in that area on Friday morning from 10 to 11:30, probably 11:45 actually, transition them over to the venue. And Chris, I think they're also they're going to be fed. The junior high performance camp will be on Friday morning I think the high performance camp is moving to Racket Club South. So those two events will be, so that's a Friday and a Saturday event. Also on Saturday, we will have the NJTL clinic from 10:30 to 11:30. And I think that's going to be at Asheville Racket Club downtown, I think is where that one's going to be. That one is a NJTL program, is one that traditionally is used. It targets minority and more diverse communities, and it's a statewide program. On Saturday morning, we are going to have a diversity brunch at the Cambria Hotel from 10 to 11:30. We had a pre-sale list, and that went out yesterday morning, and we have now sold 83 tickets for that event just without it going public. So we're looking at whether it becomes public or we continue to target some individuals. That's a huge growth. The first year we had about 12 people at Pax Tavern. The second year it was at the back room of the beer garden. So we're looking forward to being at the Cambria Hotel. We were planning on doing it at Hemingway's, but our numbers are probably going to transition us indoors, which is we already had as a plan for weather. So that's going to be really good. We're working with Tina Madison White and a couple of individuals for speakers. So that's kind of like the community events aspect. We have about 125 volunteers. That number changes, but that's really good. We'll be doing transportation, logistics, working camps, all kinds of different things. And also providing transportation for the teams. So it's a busy week, busy 2 weeks, because everybody starts arriving this Saturday. And luckily, most everybody that is flying in, it's interesting. So the first year we had to deal with some Charlotte arrivals, but now people have found out that flying into Asheville is easier than flying out from Charlotte or getting to Charlotte. And one of the interesting things is the Ukrainian team needed to fly out of Atlanta, and they asked about a shuttle from here to Atlanta, and then they realized that they could fly from here to Atlanta. So even that aspect has worked out. We've just got to get them here from Charleston now. So, but everything's moving along, and Grapple, we went live with team registration for the Grapple in December, and have over 20 teams already registered. And I would say seven of those are probably brand new teams that have seen how well the teams that have played do at the state level. So hopefully that event will continue to grow. We've got a lot of things going on during the summer. We have the Skyview Golf Tournament. We've got lacrosse, soccer, flag football, ultimate frisbee. We've got Beer City Cup on Labor Day. So it's a packed summer, back to back. Also have the Grand Fondo USA Cycling National Championships here in July. So a lot of things out there, and just excited for the next 2 weeks. Again, I can never say enough about Chris and his staff and the great job that they do, taking care of everything, making people feel welcome and having that venue, knowing that they're going to turn that venue from a concert on Saturday. Is that right? Saturday?
Friday concert in the arena, Saturday concert in the Wolf. Load in on Saturday for tennis.
Yeah, so it is amazing. We last event, we actually did a time lapse video to show how that venue has progressed. Also, we're working with the Ukrainian community to try to really bridge and reach out to them, possibly provide some free tickets. Also, Chris's great leadership. The Ukrainian Crisis Relief Fund, 10% of all ticket sales will go to that, along with $1 for every ticket sold from Ingles, $2 for every ticket sold from Harrah's Casinos, and a $5,000 donation from New Belgium. So that's all Chris's great leadership to set that up, and we're very excited about that. We need to sell tickets. So, and our goal is to sell as many tickets as possible because we want each ticket to be a way that we are helping in the Ukraine. Our target is hopefully to get close to 100,000, but we'll see. So $100,000. There also will be an announcement later this week that someone will be making a matching gift to what we do. So it's very important. If you haven't purchased tickets or you have friends that haven't purchased tickets, to please get out there and really push these tickets the last 2 weeks. And I know there was some kind of mix-up that Donna had contacted me about, people thinking they had to have masks or whatever. The only people that are wearing masks will be volunteers that are working with the team. And so that's drive, transportation, whatever. There are no guidelines at all for the facility for a person who is spectating. So hopefully we got that cleared up last week. We're hoping that we'll get some media bounce now that the national championship is over. I would have preferred to have a little bit better media bounce today for the basketball game, but I don't get everything I want. But we're working with USTA on some last minute marketing, but also working with their PR team to hook them up with TV, radio, everybody else. And I volunteered to be on anything and everything that they can get us on to promote this event. So thank you all for all you do. And again, thanks to Chris and Laura and the entire staff for all that they do, and Laura Loftus for all she does at Aston Park. She is also now a part-time fire person. So we're going to get our hard helmet and a fire jacket, and maybe Kevlar too. So maybe you can be the first hybrid police fire combo over there, Laura. But thanks for all you do and getting. I know you guys had to move everything up early to get that facility ready at Aston Park for us. So thank you to everybody.
Any questions for Deb? Okay. Asheville Symphony, is there someone here that can give us an update? I know that Daniel isn't here.
He isn't, but he sent me a brief update to give the group.
Okay.
So their concert attendance continues to be relatively stable, with single tickets continuing to outperform past years, but subscriptions are still lower than past years. No surprises given the landscape around COVID. They're putting the final touches on next year's season programming. And new for this upcoming concert this weekend, proof of vaccination and negative test is no longer required to attend a symphony event. However, we are keeping indoor mask mandate in place for symphony concerts through the rest of the season. And if you have any questions for Daniel, I can send his way, but I don't know what all I could answer.
Okay. General Manager's report. Chris, keep going.
Alrighty. I don't have a ton this week, just upcoming events, and then I'll intro Laura here and pass on to her. I'm not going to go too deep into Billie Jean King Cup, but like Demp mentioned, we've got a concert this Friday in the Arena Symphony on Saturday, and then Saturday is when tennis starts loading in. They're in the building from the 9th to the 17th for the Billie Jean King Cup. It's about 4,000 man hours that it takes to put that event on, so he's not wrong. It's a significant lift to get that event through. We closed the month out with 2 shows on April 30th with Krungbin and Amos Lee, which are both selling really well and will probably be sold out by the time we get there. We've got Tom Segura, Daughtry, Chicago, Kenny G, and Little Feat all in the house in May on the concert side. AC Reynolds High School decided to move their Memorial Day end of season concert to the Thomas Wolfe this year, which has historically been on campus for them. That'll be at the end of May on the 24th, which is a new event for us. We have a few events going on sale for the fall in the next couple of weeks. I honestly can't remember which ones are which, so I don't want to tell you ones that haven't been publicly announced yet, just in case. But the fall lineup's coming together really well. We've got a good number of arena concerts booked, which are really where the money comes from. The arena concerts pretty much help fund all of our operations. Thomas Wolfe concerts are lining up really well. And Marshall will be happy to hear we have a good number of Monday, Tuesday concerts already confirmed and solid for the fall, including a really big run at the end of October. So things are looking really good. I'd say about on the same pace as this year, which is turning out really well, even though we didn't get to open until August. Any questions on events, upcoming events? No. All right. Well, then, in line with what we've done the last few months, with the change up in how the department structure works, we've invited Laura Loftus, who's the manager at Aston Park Tennis Center and has been for quite a while, to come and just intro to you guys what she does, what Aston Park Tennis Complex is, because it is, I believe, the last of the new facilities to intro you folks to. So, Laura, I'll let you take it away from here.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. And thanks everyone for allowing me to come on and just talk a little bit about what we do here at Aston Park Tennis Center. I have been here since at this location since 2005. I've been with the department since 2000. And a lot of changes have happened at Aston Park since I've been here. Actually, just to give you a little overview of the history, when we took the park over in 2005 from the county, it was through a water agreement. And so all the facilities that Chris is now taking over, those were all the facilities that came to the city in 2005. So when we took the facility over, I was hired to be the manager at this facility and have been here since. But when we took it over, the building that I'm sitting in now was not even here. And the interesting thing that we found out as soon as we took it over was the county had received a nice donation from a gentleman who started the Asheville Open tennis tournament, which I'll talk a little bit about here in a few minutes. The gentleman who started the tournament 90 years ago this year, he passed away, I think in late 80s, and he left a substantial amount of money for a building to be built here at Aston Park. So the county had sat on that money for quite a few years, and the only thing that they did was they hired an architect to draw up the plans for the building, because that was his request, was he wanted a clubhouse built here for the players to use. So when we found out about the money, it was, I believe, $282,000. And again, I think 16 maybe was used for the architect and the plans. So we took the plans and we didn't really want to, get more plans and spend more money. So we used the plans we had, and the building I'm sitting in now, we broke ground November of 2005. And before we could do that, we obviously realized we needed more money, and we didn't really want to go to the general public to get that money. So we looked into Parks and Recreation with, filling out some grants, and there was actually a grant out there. I don't even know if it still exists to this day, but it was a Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant, but you had to have matching dollars. So we had the matching dollars. So they were able, we were awarded the grant. We got $282,000 to match our $282,000. And then we also went through USTA and got another grant for $89,000. So we were pushing up to almost $600,000. So we built the building. We did a playground. We did a two-sided backboard. It's an asphalt backboard. And we did some fencing down on the tennis courts, and we did some irrigation updates. So all that was done in 2005, 2006. And we actually opened the building in 2006. We got the CO the day before the Asheville Open started that summer. So that was a crazy crazy years for me to start my career at Aston Park. So, but it was an exciting time in that we, were able to really transform this place and create what we felt like was just really a great venue for tennis players in Asheville. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of a history. Since then, obviously, we have done a few other projects. The biggest one was in 2013 when we rebuilt the second set of courts, and each set of our courts has 3 courts on it. So we have a total of 12 courts. But one set we actually rebuilt from the ground up. So we had to get a contractor in here to perform that work. But it was really, we really moved in that direction because we had to get a lot of the drainage that was coming off the courts and going into the storm water drains. We had to remedy that. So that was really the precursor for that project to happen. And with that, we did some sidewalks and some other things around the courts that were really needed. And I think we spent about $130,000 with that capital improvement project. That has been the last major project that has taken place at this location. What we do here as staff is every March, we have to what's called recondition the courts because our season runs April 1st through the end of November. So every March, we have to basically get the courts ready again because they are hard true clay. So we just finished getting the courts ready. We put down, this year we didn't put as much down because I knew it would be hard getting the clay here. But we did put down 22.4 tons of clay. Then we put down all new lawns. So our crews have been working for a month straight, and I'll tell you, we're still hurting. And none of us are getting any younger, obviously. So our season just opened. Folks are extremely excited. So again, our season runs April 1st through the end of November. We do sell season passes, but we also charge by the hour. And those two items generate our revenue for the majority of the revenue here. We do also sell concessions, and we provide services of stringing tennis rackets. So that's the general history. As far as recent highlights, again, we just started the season, so we have a lot of goals for the season, and hopefully we'll produce some highlights. But for the last couple of years have been a challenge, obviously, but in 2021, we were able to produce the Asheville Open once again. 2020 was obviously a year that was the first year since I've been working for the city that we did not produce the Asheville Open. But we brought it back last year. It was an exciting year in the fact that we had put in for a level 2 designation for the senior divisions, and it was actually awarded to us for 2020, but of course we had no tournament. So we were excited about 2021 because we had gotten this new level 2 designation from USTA, which there are not many across the country that get that designation. So we were very ecstatic that we were able to do that. I have an awesome tournament committee that really helped put that together, and we were able to solidify that for 2021. With that being said, level 2 tournaments for seniors, it definitely brought them to Asheville. I couldn't believe how many seniors came here in 2021. We had, for the level 2 designation, which is 60 through 90 age divisions, we had 228 players for 2021. I don't expect we will have that many, because what we learned is that we need to lower the brackets for each of those divisions. We had 64 brackets thinking they wouldn't fill up. We were wrong. So we were really scrambling with courts. So this year we have lowered the divisions to 32 draws. So we probably won't get as many people, but again, we don't know that for sure, because we're really pushing for the women's divisions to fill up a little bit more than they did last year. So, but we will continue that designation. We were awarded the L2 again for 2022. And those designations are really given out to tournaments that really produce not only those top-notch level players, but a tournament that can produce a lot of other things that players are looking for, when like the hospitality end of things. And with the tournament committee that I have, it's amazing how much they do. So I'll get into that just in a second, but that was our major highlight in 2021. The last biggest highlight before that, kind of in my mind, was it came in November of 2019 when we dedicated Court 1 to Louis Isaac. I don't know if any of you guys remember Louis Isaac. He passed away very suddenly in 2019. He was a tennis player at Aston Park for over 40 years, but he also was a part of many commissions and boards that across the Asheville area. I know he was on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for a couple of years, but he also started took a picture. We have plaques downstairs on the wall, and I took a picture of it just because I did want to mention him. But he was the founder of the Building Bridges program in Asheville, if any of you all are aware of that. He was a huge advocate of social justice. But we did that dedication in November of 2019, and we had several city council people here and some other dignitaries, and it was just a really well done event that I was very proud of. So we have a plaque on Court 1, not really a plaque, it's more of a sign that we made for him for that court. So it is hanging out there today, and something we're all really proud of to help us remember him. So goals for the future. Again, like I said, we just opened for the new season. So our goal for this year, I know with the tournament committee, we've already been meeting, and this is the 90th anniversary of the Asheville Open. So our goal is to make it one of the best, yet. Obviously, we have a lot of things that we're trying to make happen for this event. We start the tournament on Tuesday. I believe, let me see if I wrote the dates down. July the 5th through the 10th. Starts on a Tuesday, and we have seniors coming in on Tuesday, and then later in the week we have age division groups and younger adults. So we're doing a Friday night barbecue. We've got some food trucks coming in. We've got we're trying to get a DJ for some music. So we're trying to do a few things extra this year to make it very special for our 90th anniversary. Other goals, obviously for the future, if not this year, but continue. Our goal is to do whatever we can to enhance the facility in terms of safety and just, Chris and I have had a couple of conversations about these courts are in desperate need of some rebuilt. A few of the sets need to be rebuilt, and I know it takes money, and it takes time. So that continues to be one of my goals that is on a revolving door, but we definitely need to look into that, within the next 5 years for sure. Current challenges, the past 2 years has been probably the worst I have ever seen since I've been here. In terms of the homeless population. So that is our biggest challenge that we are facing at this time. And they are doing food sharing on Saturday and Sunday at our facility. And, you know, I've had a really hard time working with this group in terms of trying to coexist, if nothing else, because they take over the parking lot and they don't, you know, they act like we are the enemy, which we are not. But it's been a very difficult situation, because what that does is you know, these folks come over here for the food sharing, and then they hang out all day, then they want to use the bathroom, and then ultimately trash is strewn all over the place. So in addition to running a tennis center, we are now have found ourselves doing a lot of other tasks that you know, have been difficult to ask others to do, and obviously we all do them, but it's been a very tough situation. So those are definitely challenges that are ongoing, that hopefully a resolution will come about at some point in time. So let's see, let's see what else Chris had put down here. I think the positives and negatives of the merger, I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into it, because I'm still trying to process the change that we made. You know, I was in Parks and Recreation for 20 plus years, so it's really kind of hard for me to now think that I'm not part of Parks and Recreation. That's been my career for 28 plus years. So I'm not really sure how it all is going to mesh. I think we're all still trying to figure it out. But I think the positives are going to be that we can maybe tap into some money to where we can do some work on the courts. The negative may be more of losing some resources along the way through the Parks and Recreation Asset Division. So those are things that I know, you know, Chris and I are going to have to work through and make happen, and to make our park as nice as it is. I mean, we have you know, clay court. I mean, we have a jewel in the city, and you know, I've been trying to express that the whole time I've been here, and it's just, I think we are only one of 4 clay municipalities, you know, or municipalities that have clay courts in North Carolina. So it's a very, you know, special thing that we have, especially with seniors retiring to Asheville. They love our courts, and people of all ages, really, but seniors in particular. I guess the only other thing I can talk about maybe is just going back to the Asheville Open. That is obviously our biggest event of the year. And like I said, I put together a tournament committee, probably, I guess back in 2017, we created a tournament committee that would help us really move this tournament, you know, to where it is today. And the lady who is the co-chair of the tournament, she moved here in 2017. Her name is Debbie Southern, and she's a 30-year, she retired after 30 years of coaching at Furman University for the tennis team. So when she came on board, I knew, I was like, man, this is great. I've got some really good people, and she's brought on others and turned this tournament committee upside down. I mean, she's got these people working like crazy. So they have really done a fantastic job and made my life a lot easier in a lot of ways. So they've been a wonderful addition. I do kid with them that they've been my constant supervisor, if you will, because that they do ask a lot, and I try to give them whatever they need, because they are such huge supporters of the tournament. But with that being said, we work heavily with the Asheville Tennis Association. So we are partners with them. And several people that work on the Asheville Tennis Association also go over to the tournament committee to work. But we're kind of all in one the same. And but the tournament committee has done has been huge in bringing in sponsorships for this year. Their goal was 20,000, but they're already up to 25 plus. And what that does is that helps pay for prize money, and it helps pay for a lot of things with the tournament that that the city just doesn't have the money in the budget for. So with them, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do all the things we do with the tournament if they're not involved, being the Tennis Association, because they are a 501c3. So they are able to bring in these sponsorships and then spend money back. So they've been a huge help. So in addition to the tournament, we also do, we have a commitment with USTA League Play. So right now we just started the spring season. So I have close to 20 teams that play out of Aston Park. And then when their season finishes, we'll continue in one for the summer and they continue on through the fall. But then I also work with Mindy at the Racket Club to help her host we do a North Carolina mixed league championships in May. We do another section tournament in September, and I think those are the only two we've got this year. But those bring in across the city. Those bring in over 1,000 players. So it's a huge economic impact to the city of Asheville for those events. Just looking to see if we have any more. We do have actually a new event this weekend, and it was really brought on through the Tennis Association, was the main driver in this event. But we're hosting a high school, a boys high school invitational tournament, which starts here Friday, and it'll run through Saturday. And this is the first time we've ever offered it. We were hoping to get 48 was the max we could take. I heard yesterday there were 42 kids signed up. So we've got 42 that'll be here on Friday. But we also work with the Asheville Middle School. We are the host site for their middle school team. So they practice and they play their matches here as well. I'm probably missing a few other things, but those are the highlights. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Laura, you mentioned, was it the Tennis Association that had the 501c3? I wasn't sure. Is that
Yes.
what it is?
The Asheville Tennis Association, yes.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Anyone else have any questions?
I do.
Okay. Yvonne.
Yes. Thank you, Donna. Laura, I noticed, and I live in West Asheville, close to Melvin Hills, and the Melvin Hills Park tennis courts. Are you overlooking, or do you have anything to do with that particular facility?
I used to somewhat be over that, so to speak, but now that I came out of Parks and Recreation, that is no longer under my my supervision in terms of, I didn't really do that much to begin with, but no, you would have to go through the Parks Department for that one. I know that was one location that was redone through the bond referendum. We went in and redid some different tennis courts around town, and I know Malvern Hills was one of them.
Well, the reason why I asked is because I've seen an uptake in activity, especially the smaller, not full court kind of tennis. I don't know what I'm sorry. I don't.
Pickleball.
I'm sorry?
Pickleball.
Okay. I've seen in activities of that particular kind of play and things like this, just kind of mushrooming. And I'm just so glad to see that more people are using that court. When I first moved here, it was kind of deserted for a couple basketball players. But other than that, now it's hard to get a place to park around there. Parking is a bear. Then when the pool's open, it's a double bear. So
yeah, the pickleballers have taken over, but those courts were resurfaced. There were like 3 or 4 across the city that were done. And what they did is they created what they called multi-sport courts. So it's just not, honing in on one section of the population. So you've got pickleballers, you've got basketball players, you've got, we've even had the roller hockey. So, there's a multitude of activities that can be played on those courts.
And I wasn't really aware of the unique possibility of having clay courts at tournament level. Now, does that have an impact upon what's coming in this next week with the women's Billie Jean Cup?
No, it won't have an effect on that at all because the professional players will not be playing at Aston Park. They're just going to be playing at Harris Cherokee Center. So the activities that we will have here during the week are geared more for kids. So those clinics will be done here, and no, they don't have any. It won't be any problem. Clay courts, typically high schools do play hard courts, so they don't typically use clay courts. Middle schools are a little different. I think really, to be honest with you, I go to a lot of conferences and workshops across the state for USTA. USTA North Carolina provides a couple of workshops per year, and I do attend those. And it's rare that for us to even have middle school here in this area, because most places in North Carolina don't even have middle school teams. So we are very fortunate that we do. So they're not too worried about using the clay courts. They're just more concerned about getting tennis courts. But when they do go to the high school level, they do play on hard court. They will never play on clay courts. And that's true for college too.
Laura, did you have a video that you were going to show?
That's right. Thank you, Donna. So I do have a short video, and this was done last year at the Asheville Open. We hire a photographer who comes in and does a lot of pictures, but she always puts together a short clip video for us so that we can use it as our promotion for the next year. So here we go.
All right, I think that was it.
That was really quite good. That was really, I liked it. She did a good job of putting those, pictures together to show every different age level. And I love the fact she put the rain in the middle just to point out it is an outdoor sport. You're on mute, Laura.
What kind of impact, Laura, do you feel that you have since the women's tennis thing came a couple years ago? Did you benefit from the series of professional tennis coming to Asheville?
Absolutely. Tennis was, it really became an uptick in numbers for us after the 2018, especially with Venus and Serena coming to town. That was huge. We have a really good tennis community in Asheville. But yes, we saw the numbers increase, and then the pandemic hit. We had the matches 2018, 2019, numbers were great. And then the pandemic hit, and it kind of suffered for a few months, and then we opened back up in May of that year. And if you noticed around town, driving by tennis courts, tennis was one of those sports that was deemed safe. So we had people coming out here that I had never even seen before during the pandemic. So I think the two things in combination really kind of helped us survive the pandemic, if you will, because, tennis was really, it energized it really from 2018 and 2019, and then the pandemic, and then our numbers just continued to go up. So yes, for both of those, but also for 2018, we were able to get the USTA gave out a sum of money that year for they want to put money into the community they come into to provide some kind of enhancement to a public tennis facility. So that year we were awarded $35,000 through USTA, and we put it to good use. We had a company come in and put some awnings. We actually extended the concrete in the front and made a big patio area, and then we put some awnings that are retractable from the building and some bleachers. And then we bought some patio furniture for the porch up top. So the money was really spent in terms of trying to enhance our building and to the point of catering to those people who come and watch the tennis. Because, if you came here before, the sun hits the building from the west, and in the afternoons it can get very hot. So putting those awnings in place has been nothing but, every time I get them out, people thank me profusely because they are a great shade and provider for those people coming to watch tennis. So we benefited heavily from the 2018 and 2019 Fed Cups, as they were called back then. So we're hoping that with this one, it's going to generate some more activity. And so, it's very exciting with that happening. Just to kind of give you all, I had them written down, but I didn't throw out the numbers. We have just recently, when I say recent, within the last 5 years, we put in a new system that's software, RecTrack. It's not one of my favorites, but I've gotten better over the years with it, but it helps track our numbers. And the department identified a position that was needed. They hired the position, and this position now is in place by Max Cherry, and he is the person I go to with needs for RecTrack. So before him, our numbers really didn't get calculated like they should have because we just didn't have the means to track them. This is a difficult venue in that you've got openings on all sides. So we really have to get people to come in and, register and pay. And, oftentimes we'll look out, we'll be like, oh gosh, somebody's on 7. We need to get them up here to pay. So it's been difficult over the years, but we're starting to get people really trained. But the RecTrack software system has been huge in helping us track those numbers. So I went back and looked just to give you kind of a history. In 2019, our total attendance, now again, we maybe didn't capture everybody, but this was what we have in the computer. Our total attendance was 16,089. That is the total traffic coming through. 2020, obviously the pandemic hit, and we did not open the courts back up until May 11th. During the 2020 year, we did not charge a dime. We didn't sell any passes. We didn't charge because we didn't want to open the pro shop, and we just didn't know. And so we kept the courts open for shorter periods of time. So the numbers, we just had to take them off what we took each day. So in 2020, again, people came out because they needed something to do outside. We still had 9,975. So we had close to 10,000 people come through here in 2020. And we were closed for 6 days in May after the apartment fire next door caused extensive damage on our courts that we had to replace some fencing. So that happened in 2020. 2021, our attendance was 15,379. So we were a little bit shy of what we were in 2019. But I feel like, COVID played a big part in that as people were just trying to get back out and get maneuvering again into league play. So I think because league play kind of took a hit during the pandemic. So I expect those numbers to go up this year, or at least that's one of our goals. So we, but that just kind of gives you a little bit of history there.
Laura, thank you so much for your report. We appreciate it. We have just a few minutes left, and I noticed that Mukunda is on the line now. So Mukunda, could you give us an update on the Muni Golf Course?
So I spoke with Jason Sanford, and he had already spoken with Chris Coral. I don't have really any more info regarding that, any follow-up on that. I know he was going to bring it up on the Wise Guys show, but I do not have any kind of results from that yet. So,
okay, Chris, do you have any updates?
Yeah, here I'll let Demp had just raised his hand. Demp, go ahead, and then I'll jump in on Muni.
Well, I was just going to commend Chris for the great community session that he did the other day. So I'll let him kind of talk about that session, but he did an incredible job. And I think it's probably the most positive public input session I have ever seen since I've been in Asheville. And part of that was the way Chris handled that. So just want to give him a kudos, but I'd love to hear what he has to say.
Thanks, Demp. Yeah, so we had a public meeting for Muni on, I guess it would have been Tuesday last week, which is what I'd emailed the group out to try to help get some word out on. And survey info has gotten out a little quicker and more steadily in the last week, which has been great. But public meeting had a little over 100 people at it and was really positive. Actually, it went, I don't know, a little over 2 hours or so. A lot of people in both the neighborhoods around the golf course and golfers that had a lot of interest in that course. The survey has gotten a lot of good uptick. We did end up getting posts and blog posts and social posts, I believe, from Ash Vegas. WLS ran a story. We did get one on Citizen Times, WLS and Citizen Times, both after the public meeting. And we've gotten survey cards out. They're little business card size cards that have the QR code, a direct link to the survey, to the golf course, the driving range, Play It Again Sports, and to Nevada Bob's and Golf USA golf stores around town. And neighborhood associations sent the survey out to the neighborhoods, both Hawk Creek, Beverly Hills, and Oakley, which are like the three closest neighborhoods. And we also sent the info out to Gashers Creek, which is across the river from Muni, but up above the nature center, so somewhat connected. We've got 499 responses so far to the survey, which is pretty good. I'm told a lot of the public surveys get somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 to 400. I don't have any actual data on that though. But responses are good so far. We've got, looks like 20% of the responses are from people that live in one of those immediate neighborhoods around the facility. Then once you add in people that live in the city of Asheville, it's 56% of the people live in the city of Asheville. In total, it's 87% of people live in Buncombe County. So only about 15% are from outside of Buncombe County. And lots of good feedback in here. And as we let the survey keep running for a couple of weeks, we'll have a lot of good data to bring back to this group and to council related to trying to find a way to fund some improvements there. And Laura bringing up this Recreation and Park Trust Fund grants that happened at the Aston Park about 20 years ago made me start Googling that because I didn't even know it existed. And it looks like that might be another target we can look at for the golf course, which is great. Any word on, we pushed the proposal up to the city council? Do you have some input on that at all?
At this time, no, I don't actually.
Okay.
No.
It did go out to the full council though after that request from the commission. So they've seen it. It was talked about briefly at their budget retreat on March 17th and 18th. If Antoinette was here, she could probably give a more thorough report on that, but they have seen it. They are aware of the project. It's about the status at the moment with council. No action taken on their end by any means.
Okay. This basically fell under old business. Is there anyone else that has anything on old business? No? How about new business? Nothing on new business?
All right, I can jump in there. Chris, the other day I attended this reorganization of our commissions and things like this. I asked Donna a little bit about that. This is really kind of, for me, as a participant and a commissioner for the last 7 or 8 years, kind of scary. It means that people like Laura and these different venues would, if we don't have commissions to give them the voice, and we don't have a way of sharing publicly some of the issues that the city and county is confronting, it just kind of, it's a huge puzzle that we have neglected several pieces of that puzzle that represents why people come to Asheville. Why do they bring their money? We know now exactly what happens when they don't come to Asheville and they are not bringing their financial support to our community. We've watched it through the pandemic. We don't want to go back into business as we did in the past. We want to be better at promoting the assets that we have to involve our guests. And when we neglect the maintenance and the updating and the investment that the city needs to take in a good way to bring these facilities into something that isn't so disgraded, or going to a golf course and you can't drive a golf cart down the lane because of the potholes, or if you're going to go to the tennis court and you find that the washout of clay is so bad that you can't play tennis. It's up to us to have that voice with the public and with the city to support the many projects that are out here, and to bring it now under kind of this commission. I think it's awesome. I think it's also part of the responsibility of the support of the commissioners to take a more proactive role in what this commission is pushing to city council, and be more active in looking for the different financial possibilities that this commission can bring to enhance and to make the issue for the voters to feel that they are a part of it. If we do not have these voices and these opportunities as a meeting once a month to listen to our partners, then their needs kind of go by the wayside, and next thing you know, we have nothing to offer our guests. And when our guests are not entertained, when our guests are not fed, when our guests are just abused to go drink beer and not go to a concert or go to a baseball game or play a round of golf, we lose as a community. And I better stop there because I'll get into areas but the commissioners who sit on this commission need to be more proactive and visit the golf course and visit the tennis courts and visit the different places. We have commissioners here that I very much doubt has ever been backstage at the Thomas Wolfe to understand some of the facilities here, or even in the arena to understand the complex of what you said. How many hours are we going to be using to make the changes within the arena from one setup to the next? What was that, Chris?
Yeah, for the Billie Jean King Cup, the duration is a little over 4,000 man hours for the 10 days they're in the building. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 4,000 man hours should be documented in a way that the taxpayers can understand that they are the ones who are benefiting and also paying for those resources to happen in a way that they are supplementing that by their participation as community members. And this commission should be more proactive in being able to talk to that kind of thing. There's my 2 cents for today. Thank you.
Chris, was there anything you'd like to comment?
As far as the restructuring goes, I don't really have a ton of new info. I might try to put Ricardo on the spot if he has an update on what that is from our Cape office with the city.
Thank you, Chris. At this point, I don't think I have more different information than the one that you already presented. So not really more that we can add to that aspect of this conversation.
Okay, so it's still an ongoing process, not a done deal. No specifics on how it's going to end up at the end of this process, right?
Not that I'm aware, but I got to check with that one, the department, to see if we have more clarity or more information regarding the topic, and based on that, I will come back and let you know, certainly.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Yes, is that survey that you've taken looking for feedback, does that include education for commissioners so they know their charge of what they are being asked to do by city council? I've never been to a meeting where they said, here, you're a commissioner and this is basically your response, your opportunity to be involved in XYZ facilities, or basically was the Civic Center. Now we're exploding this into many different physical plants within the city. And to be honestly, I have to admit that I haven't visited all these places. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. It was a nice little video showing a promo on the Laura's side, but Laura brought up a big issue. She says, we have our homeless people who are entitled or feel that they are entitled to use and abuse a park and a facility to their liking and not be responsible as human beings to leave their trash, leave their stuff behind, leave their needles behind, and not police themselves. And we are trying as a city to look at these problems, but they impact what the visitor comes to Asheville and what they see. And we are on the edge of trying to bring a beautiful opportunity for our guests to leave here and feel that they have a wonderful experience, or the guest that comes and say, I'm not coming back here. It's too dirty. It's
Yvonne, I think Demp can address some of that. Demp, do you want to talk about that?
Well, first, I would say that Laura and her team, and especially Jeff Joyce, who is kind of crosses both bridges of Asheville Tennis Association and Sports Commission Board, have done a good job of making our elected officials aware. I would just say that in some situations, we just have to be sensitive to the things that are going on, but also I think the thing we're not doing as well as to make our commission. So our city council members, I'll speak for one of them specifically. They're so inundated with all kinds of things so when they get an email about an incident at Aston Park, I make sure that my board member gets a text and says, "Hey, did you see Jeff Joyce's email? I've got a whole bunch of emails, but let me look at it," and then there becomes action. I think we just have to be careful in any situation that we are looking at, and I know Chris and Mara are doing a great job, but we have to be careful that as we deal with a very delicate situation, that we continue to realize that the Aston Park facility is used not just for visitors. The main thing that Aston Park is used for is our community. So I don't want us to get caught up in one event with the Billie Jean King Cup and having visitors and moving a couple of clinics. What I want us to get caught up into is it affects the daily life of the citizens of the city of Asheville who go to Aston Park and play. It affects the safety of our kids that are going to Aston Park and playing. So, the visitor component is really good. And that's my job, and that's Marshall's job every day. But in terms of that facility, Laura needs help, not just because we have the Billie Jean King Cup next week, but because we have members of the Asheville Tennis Association and community citizens, high school players, middle school players, rec players, our NJTL program, minority players, everyone that participates there on every single day. And I think that's the point that we have to make is this jewel of a facility. It was a great email the other day that Debbie Southern, who is the president of the Asheville Tennis Association, wrote, because this is a jewel of a facility in the downtown area that our citizens utilize. So it's not just that the visitor is going to come and see a bag of trash. It's all of the different components. And we could spend 3 hours and not even touch half of the things that Laura sees or has to deal with in a day. I mean, I was there to visit the other day, and I saw some very inappropriate things out behind the building just in my 15 minutes that I was there. So I think our focus with Aston Park really needs to be the safety and well-being of our general citizens. And by the way, we have the Asheville Open, we have all of these events that are also bringing people in, but we want to make sure that the person on a Tuesday night playing tennis is safe and feels safe. So sorry.
No.
But I think we sometimes get
I'll touch on that. Thanks, Stamp. That's been really my focus in sending emails that I've sent. And Jeff is a seasonal employee here. He's also a 30-year retired city employee. So he retired back in 2009. He actually went to another city and did another 5-year stint in Parks and Rec, and then he came back to Asheville to retire. And then I'm not sure why he was crazy enough to want to become a seasonal after that, but he did. He loves Aston Park. But I will say the last 2 years he's been instrumental in sending all the documentation to city council on, and he's done it on a standpoint of being he was the ATA president last year. So he kind of filled those shoes when doing that, as opposed to being a seasonal employee for the city. Because again, it's better coming from the community members. But I will echo what Demp said. It's not just a problem with out of town visitors, which I feel that's just one component. I'm almost ashamed to, I'm in the process of hiring a couple of people, and it's been hard doing that, really. And I'm in the process of hiring 2 individuals, and I'm almost ashamed to have them show up their first couple of days of work, because I don't know what they're going to encounter. Last week alone, I had 2 overdoses and another gentleman taken away to the emergency room Sunday evening during an event. That episode produced a very alarming interaction between 3 individuals, and cursing, throwing items. I mean, it became a really big problem, and the gentleman that was in the middle of it, his bodily issues that he was having are still on the steps out next to the building. So those are just, I mean, it's a daily occurrence, and it's just, and I feel, and I've been saying this for 2 years, the safety concerns are for patrons of the facility, but it's also for the staff that work here. And our staff have just, gone above and beyond what any of us should be even having to do each day. So I just give them kudos more than anything, because I can't believe they're still here, to be honest with you. So, but thank you, Dan, for bringing that up.
We're at 1:16, and I think we need to wrap this meeting up. But, the unusual part of this particular commission is that it now covers so many areas, and every area is both citizens and tourists, and they overlap. And it's important that whenever we discuss something, we need to recognize both sides of that coin and weight them appropriately. I think it's important. I really like the fact that Laura can give us statistics on how many citizens use her facilities, and I think that's important for all of our facilities to have that data, as well as the data for our tourism community as well. So I really appreciate everybody's comments today on these subjects. If you'd like to continue having any one of these conversations, if you'll let Chris know, and we can put it on the next agenda with our meeting, which will be May the 3rd. And right now that meeting continues to be virtual based on the city's policies. If it changes, then we'll change for sure. And I'm sorry it is this way. It would be nice to actually see you in person. If there's no other comments, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Also move.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today. Thank you, Laura, for a great presentation. I appreciate it. It's always good to hear from everybody's comments. Have a great, see you next month.
Thank you.